Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. This is going to be a video talking about the upcoming United States Championship match, which was sort of the main event of Monday Night Raw. Was John Cena coming out and sort of using the words against Stephanie McMahon and the Authority, saying that every championship was going to be on the line at Night of Champions. And Sting had already challenged for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is now going to have to do double duty wrestling against John Cena. He was able to sort of use the words of the Authority against each other. The Authority were already inside of the ring, Stephanie McMahon and Seth Rollins sort of bickering back and forth about what had happened with the statue, and Stephanie's trying to portray Seth Rollins as being a great champion, and Seth is trying to become a crybaby like he's been, trying to say, hey, this is a good thing. You're going to be pushed. We're going to see how good you are. If you're able to beat both of these guys, you're going to come off as being one of the greatest champions in WWE World Heavyweight, or one of the greatest champions in World Wrestling Entertainment history. This is going to go back. Hogan never defended it twice. Definitely Cena never defended it twice. They don't talk about it a lot of times, but there was one pay-per-view where I think Triple H had 3 championship matches all on the same show before losing it to Randy Orton in the main event. Fun times. That was a great show. I can't remember what show it is off the top of my head, but definitely if Seth Rollins is able to pull it off, he is going to look like he is a major star. There's a little part of me that thinks that, he might be able to do it. I definitely don't think that Sting is going to be able to beat Seth Rollins, but I think that John Cena is going to get that, United States Championship back. Even though the championship is in the hands of the World Wrestling Entertainment Heavyweight Champion right now, I definitely think that the championship is losing steam. We haven't seen it defended on Monday Night Raw in 2 weeks. We haven't seen it defended on SmackDown. It's just a belt right now that Seth Rollins is holding to make himself look like he's a better champion than he is. Almost like when Floyd Mayweather comes to the ring, or any other boxer, and they've got like 17 belts. And there was a wrestler, Ultimo Dragon, who used to do that in WCW all the time, and it wouldn't even be a championship match, but the guy would come down with all these Japanese titles. Sonny Ono was holding them all, and it's like, well, what's the point? You're saying you're a great wrestler, but you're not even putting any of the championships on the line tonight, so you can't be that good. But definitely Cena versus Rollins, I would think, is not going to be the main event. I think that they're going to be hanging their hat on Sting, trying to see how much name value this guy really has. Sting was one of the guys that was really the guy to see WrestleMania weekend. He was one of the guys, even though the match was against Triple H, everybody knew it wasn't going to be the main event. It was sort of like the second most talked about match of the weekend. If you weren't talking about Brock re-signing and what was going to happen now that Brock's not leaving, are you going to put the belt on to Roman Reigns, or is Brock going to beat him now? People aren't really, responding to what Roman's got going on right now. So, it was out there that people were talking about what was going to happen between Sting and Triple H. I thought that Sting was going to beat him. I thought that made the most sense more than anything else. But, the NWO, DX having the Monday Night War battled out right there in the ring, Nitro versus Raw. That was something I would never see. But, that was something back in the day, that we always talked about. And we actually got to see it. So, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks maybe he'll lose both. There's a part of me who thinks maybe he'll win both. But I think the easy money is to say that he splits, where he's going to beat Sting and he's going to lose to Cena. But I think the Cena match would have to go on earlier because it is the United States Championship. You don't want to have the WWE title, which is the only title, defended in the middle of the show. And then even though it's John Cena, have it going on last. I mean, that's sort of like when Shawn Michaels was the European champion back in like 96, 97, whatever it was, maybe 95 and 96. But, he would be wrestling in the main event, even though that, Bret Hart or Undertaker or somebody would be the WWE champion. They'd be wrestling in the middle of the show. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the placement on what you're going to do. I'm thinking that they're going to get behind Sting and see how hard they can push him, and they'll make the decision coming up, that weekend of the show, seeing where things are going to go down. But I wouldn't be surprised either way. But definitely in my mind, if I had to put money on it right now, I say Cena beats him for the U.S. belt, and then Rollins will keep the title and beat Sting in the main event. But then he's just I don't know, man. It's almost like you want to have the story of him doing the clean sweep of beating both guys or losing both guys. I think that's the best way to portray this. And then you're able to see, you know, what is up with Seth Rollins now that he's not the champion, he's not the guy anymore. Obviously, he would get a rematch against Sting. But did the authority just crumble and he wins it on his own, much like he had to do a few months ago when Triple H, you know, was there to congratulate him once it was all done, but he didn't even get involved in the match at all. So we'll see. Night of Champions, I believe it's 2 weeks away. It's coming up soon. I have gone round and round, basically about what match WWE should put on first, whether if it's Seth Rollins versus John Cena or Seth Rollins versus Sting. And honestly, in my mind, I know that John Cena is the major star here. John Cena is the exclamation point in WWE. I feel that he is the most important person. But honestly, in my mind, I know that they're trying to make the United States Championship mean something. But honestly, even putting the WWE title on before the United States Championship match isn't going to be enough to bring to life the United States title. They're doing a lot to make this title mean something, but honestly, in the past few weeks that Seth Rollins has not been defending it on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, much like how John Cena was defending it every show since WrestleMania 31, you can see that title is starting to just become just a title. Just what WWE had made it before. Hey, we're going to put this championship on you. This is going to mean that you're going to mean more. But in the long run, you're going to lose a lot of matches in order to set up other matches. You won't lose the title for a long time, but you're also not going to win any matches for a long time. That's sort of the way I think about the United States title. So I believe at Night of Champions, John Cena versus Seth Rollins will go on in the middle of the show, leaving the main event for Seth Rollins going up against Sting. In my mind, I'm trying to wrap my head around 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, the whole basis of the show was built up around Seth Rollins versus Triple H. And I was trying to figure out how they were going to get to that point, because I don't think they're going to be doing it in October at Hell in the Cell. I think it's actually going to be the next month down the road in November, which would be Survivor Series. I think that's where you set up that match to see who the better champion is, who's got the bigger balls, who's the guy really running the WWE, and the authority throwing it down and saying they've had enough to Seth Rollins, getting them into trouble. He's already lost Kane. He's already lost J&J Security. He's found ways to hold on to these championships, but he keeps trying to put himself over and keeps trying to make him bigger than Triple H. And there's only one way you can prove who is bigger and who is better, and only one way to see who's going to shut their mouth, pretty much. So we'll see what goes down with that one. But honestly, in my mind, I think that Cena is going to be walking out empty-handed. I think that Rollins is going to win both of his matches. I think that he's still going to be the Ultimate Champion, holding on to the United States title as well as the WWE title. And even though I think that a lot of people think that Rollins is boring, I think that when you watch Rollins' matches, he definitely deserves to be in the spot that he's in. He's one of the most entertaining guys in all of WWE. John Cena has said himself that he wants to get that championship, and he wants to make it mean something inside of WWE, but I don't think that that's going to be coming here. I think that Cena is definitely going to be on the chase, because honestly, when you think about it, do you see Sting wrestling at Hell in the Cell? And then I don't even want to start the conversation of Rock being champion from months ago, where people thought that Rock was going to show up at the Rumble. He was going to beat Punk, become WWE champion, then we weren't going to even see him until WrestleMania. And people were starting the debate, basically saying Rock can't be champion because Rock doesn't work house shows. Rock, it's not going to be on every television. This, that, and the other. People didn't even think Rock was going to show up at the Elimination Chamber. And Rock was there. He had a match against CM Punk. It was a good match. Honestly, I think the numbers were a little bit down from where people thought they were going to be, because it wasn't the Royal Rumble. It wasn't WrestleMania, but still, they did a better number than they had done in the past for the Elimination Chamber. It just wasn't the big, huge Rock number that he normally brings in, because I think they used him, 3 consecutive months in a row. People already knew that the WrestleMania match was going to mean more in the long run. So that's what they went with instead of buying the rematch at Elimination Chamber. But this is a hard one. I mean, this is a tough one. How do you not say that Cena beats Rollins? Cena's been on the chase. I keep looking at this picture of Cena and Rollins, this sort of Night of Champions card that they have here, and keep thinking about, Cena winning the WWE Championship for the 16th time. But the match isn't even for that. Just, you see Rollins holding both of these belts. You see Cena going up against them. You think that this is going to be it. I don't know. Why didn't they do like a three-way? Not three-way. Doesn't make much sense with, the guy who wins gets to pick the belts he wants, because even if you're Cena and you beat Rollins, you really get to pick that you want the United States Championship. Maybe you say that you want the WWE Championship to mean more when you win it for the 16th time. I don't know, but I just don't see Cena winning. And maybe Cena gets involved later in the show with Sting, but as of right now, I think Rollins is walking out. Rollins is going to beat Cena, and then we'll see what happens with Rollins versus Sting. Lots of talk surrounds Seth Rollins in the Night of Champions 2015 show, whether, him versus John Cena for the United States Championship, or him versus Sting is going to be the real main event. What's going to go on last? Do you want to value the United States Championship over the WWE Championship, which has a longer sort of meaning, a longer sort of reign? John Cena is, the poster boy of the company, even though since WrestleMania 31, he's taken a backseat role, and pushed guys like Rusev and Kevin Owens, and sort of really built up that mid-card and really built up the United States Championship. I know that one of the things that Cena was trying to do was bring life into the United States Championship, but honestly, in my mind, I know that you're trying to build that belt up to the point where it means something, because for years, whoever held that belt, it just meant that you were going to be losing on Mondays and Thursdays on Raw and SmackDown, and then you would find a way to keep your championship every month at the pay-per-view. That's basically all that the Intercontinental and the United States title meant for anything. The WWE always thought that you were, making stars by having them, surprisingly beat somebody on Raw or SmackDown, building up to a pay-per-view match, and then, they lost. They weren't able to get it done, Tons of guys, winning, non-title matches and things like that. And to me, honestly, how you build stars and how you make new stars is by giving them big moments on big matches. I mean, people will remember Raws here and there along the way, but people always remember pay-per-views. Maybe it's because people don't really have time to watch the TV week in and week out. Maybe if they're watching it live, it's something that really sticks to them because you remember where you were when this thing sort of happens. But the pay-per-views have always stuck into WWE's, fans' minds of something that you need to see. I know lots of people that have the WWE network, and that's all they watch. They sit down, they watch the pay-per-view, and then they don't turn the network on again until the next month, and that's just the way it's going to be. For Cena, he got a Raw deal. He basically had the win in the bag at SummerSlam. He should have became 16-time, World Heavyweight Champion. He should have been a double champion at that, keeping his United States title. But instead he lost it because of Jon Stewart from The Tonight Show coming and running in and doing a run-in. From there, they went right into Sting versus Rollins as being the main match. They treated that like it was the main event because it was for the WWE Championship. Cena basically got this rematch because of a technicality by coming in and saying, hey, you Authority, you said that all the titles would be on the line. Rollins is fighting for the WWE Championship against Sting. I understand that. He's a legend, all this, that, and the other, but nobody's fighting for that U.S. title, so I'm going to use my rematch clause, and we're going to have this match at Night of Champions. And Stephanie pretty much had her back against the wall and said, yeah, I guess if you want your match, you can have it. Even though, the Authority is behind Rollins, and, there was nothing that they could do. They couldn't talk Cena out of this one. So they're going to get in the ring at Night of Champions. They're going to do it again. United States Championship is the only belt that's on the line for Cena. I honestly could see Cena winning his belt back to sort of get a win over Rollins. But at the end of the day, I think if you want to make Rollins, you have Rollins beat Cena yet once again. You always can roll this into, pushing them at Hell in the Cell, in October. Somebody's got to be in there, and I don't really see them, unless you put, the triple threat of, Ambrose, Rollins, and Roman in the Cell to sort of finish off all of the feuds that these guys have. That's about the only match that I can draw up to put into Hell in the Cell, unless you're just going to scratch the name and just call it another show, even though probably they've printed up the tickets and the t-shirts and programs and everything that they're going to sell along the way. So this has to be the main event of Hell in the Cell. It's probably going to be the only match in the Cell that I can think of. unless you're going to put Rusev and Ziggler in there with their soap opera storyline. I'm not sure, unless you're going to start off a feud in there, and that never works out well. But I'll pick Rollins to get the win. I think that, him beating both guys, means more to him becoming more established champion and getting more hated, and that's just about it. I pick Rollins to win.